the very important topic associated with kidney stones or nephrolithiasis. Kidney stones or nephrolithiasis is going to be associated with patients who are going to be having the stones, and that's a very, very common problem in the individuals, perhaps because of the number one reason is there is a supersaturation of the urine. Fundamental problem that you have in these patients is supersaturation of the urine, which means in simple terms, the urine is going to be containing solutes which are much, much more than what is normally present. So that is what is going to be causing the trouble in the patients. Now, when there is going to be a stone formation, one of the most pathetic problems that a patient is going to be feeling is he is going to be having painful episodes, severe pain, renal colic. Even though colic is not the best word, but painful episodes. Along with that, there is a possibility the patient can get aghast to see that there is presence of blood coming in his urine. So it's a cause of painful episodes, renal colicky episodes, and the patients are going to be having the presence of painful hematuria. This patient comes to you, obviously you do the symptomatic management of the patient. You are going to be giving him painkillers like diclofenac, and you are going to be taking care of X-ray and ultrasound of these patients, and then you do the urine examination. When you do the urine examination, there are 4 common types of stones which are going to be encountered by you. The first stone, that is one of the commonest stone that is going to be seen clinically in the patients, is going to be the calcium oxalate stone. Calcium oxalate stone is the commonest stone that is going to be seen in the patients. Why is this stone formed? This is absolutely logical. Think carefully. Either there is too much of calcium or there is too much of oxalate in the urine. If there is too much of oxalate in the urine, I will call it by the name of oxalaturia. If there is too much of calcium, I will call it by the name of hypercalciuria. So what is the problem in the patient? My patient is having hyper means more, calcium in the urine, hypercalciuria. Hypercalciuria. Now, hypercalciuria can be seen in case of multiple conditions, but in these patients, there is no definite cause which can explain hypercalciuria. When you do not have any definitive cause, what is the word that you are using? You are using a word idiopathic. And trust me, this is what they love to ask you as a question in the exam time and again. Commonest stone that is seen in the kidney of the patients is calcium oxalate stone. This stone is going to be seen because there is hypercalciuria. Why hypercalciuria is happening, we do not know. Perhaps because of dehydration, perhaps because of a local increase in concentration. That calcium increases the threshold limit and that causes stone formation. This kind of a stone is going to be having an important property that the stone is going to be typically going to be having a specific shape of the crystals, and that crystal is going to be having the appearance over here. So this is what is going to be given the name of envelope-shaped crystals. Envelope-shaped crystals. Urinary examination is being done after taking out the stone as well. That's what is going to be associated with the presence of. हाँ, सैंड जो है मिट्टी के लिए बोलते हैं, लेमन टर्म में बोलते हैं उसको स्टोन बोलेंगे तो वो पेशेंट क्या होता है, स्टोन दूसरे वाला सोच लेता है, कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट वाला स्टोन, तो बोलता है डॉक्टर साहब इतनी सी तो किडनी है मेरी, इसमें इतना पत्थर कैसे घुस गया? I mean, it's difficult for them to understand, right? So envelope shaped crystals is what you need to understand over here, which is going to be seen as a feature over here, right? Second type of stone that we talk about over here is uric acid stone. Uric acid stone. Uric acid stone is going to be an example of a stone. Obviously, the composition is going to be, it is going to be made up of uric acid. Now, usually they do not ask you this question directly, but what they will talk about over here is there is hyper uricemia in these patients, and because of that, there is going to be uricosuric. Uric acid is going to be high in the urine of these patients. That is why there is going to be a stone formation like this. Now, this stone is going to be seen in patients who are going to be having a history of gout. The second problem or the second hint which can be given in the exam question is post-chemotherapy. Post-chemotherapy. Cancer patients, you are going to be giving them anti-cancer drugs. When you give anti-cancer drugs, lot of tumor cells die. When tumor cells die, there is going to be a lot of uric acid which is going to be excreted in the urine of the patient. When there is too much of uric acid excreted in the urine of a patient, that is going to be responsible for causing uric acid crystals. These crystals are not going to be having any specific shape. So you can say that they are going to be either non-specific in shape, or sometimes they are going to be having the presence of rosette shape. Urate is rosette. That is what we are going to be talking about over here. The problem with this kind of a stone that we talk about over here, is going to be the fact that these are the stones which are not going to be picked up on X-ray of the KOB region. This stone is radiolucent. Uric acid stone is lucent in nature. That means it is not going to be picked up on the X-ray. Right? That's what you need to remember. Of course, doc, The best thing that is to be done is that you should be taking plenty of water, preferably, as I say, 2 to 3 liters of water on a daily basis. But if you ask honestly yourself, how many people are having that kind of a stone? How many people are having that kind of a water intake is something that you can answer by yourself, right? That's what you need to remember. The next one is going to be something which is very, very rare, but then that is something which is going to be asked in the exam. And the one that is going to be asked in the exam is going to be presence of a stone that is going to be seen in case of children. So children particularly are going to be having a presence of a stone that is going to be given the name of cystine stone. The way we remember it, it's an example of a stone which is going to be given the name of cystine stone. 16. 6-sided crystals are going to be seen in the patients. 6-sided crystals are going to be seen in the patient. So this cystine is what is going to be resembling the structure of benzene, and therefore sometimes the question asked in the exam is that the stones which are going to be resembling or having the presence of a benzene-like structure. Stone is having a presence of a benzene-like structure, cystine stones. Thankfully, this is something which is very rare. It is something which is very rare. But for those kids who are going to be having this kind of a stone, it's a nightmare for the kid as well as for the surgeon, because this stone is one of the hardest stones that is going to be seen. Hardest stones. So cystine stones are going to be the hardest stone. That is what you just need to remember over here, right? It is very, very tough to break it. The first 3 stones, I repeat the point, this is the commonest one, envelope shape. This one is because of chemotherapy or because of gout, uric acid stone, and the third one is because of cystine stone, that is going to be a 6-sided stone. All these stones are going to be primarily produced in acidic urine. Most of them are produced in acidic urine. But there is only one stone that is going to be produced in the alkaline urine, which is given in the last, that is given the name of Struvite stone. Struvite stone is the only stone that is produced in alkaline urine in the patient. Now it's logical for you to understand what is the urinary pH in case of a normal individual. I'm just asking very basic fact. Is it alkaline or is it acidic? It's going to be acidic, right? So therefore you can understand practically this kind of a stone is relatively rare. When there is alkalinization of the urine, then the stone will be seen. So what is the special condition when this stone is going to be seen? This will be seen when the patient is having UTI. And there is a special type of UTI which is going to be causing this stone. The UTI is going to be caused by the organism Proteus. Some bit of microbiology. Proteus is an example of a bacteria which is going to secrete an enzyme which is given the name of urease. So that's a micro question. This urease secreting bacteria is going to make the urine alkaline. So somebody has got a urinary tract infection. The organism is not E. coli over there. The organism, let me say hypothetically, is Proteus. So Proteus is going to secrete an enzyme which is given the name of urease. Because of urease, the urine is going to become alkaline. Now, if the urine becomes alkaline, the chances of this kind of a stone formation is going to increase. This stone is also having several other names. Struvite stone is also known by the name of triple stone. Triple stone. It is also called as staghorn calculus. It is also called as magnesium ammonium phosphate stone. Triple stone. 3 things are there. Magnesium is there, ammonium is there, and phosphate is there. So that is why it is called by the name of triple stone. So produced in the alkaline urine is going to be having 3 components: magnesium, ammonium, and phosphate, right? And why is it going to be given the name of staghorn is because this stone is going to be growing in the kidney in a very slow growing fashion. So let me say that this is an example of a diagrammatic representation of the kidney. This is an example of the renal pelvis that we are going to be talking about over here. That's how the stone is going to be causing involvement in the patients. Stone is going to be growing in this fashion. Stone grows in this fashion in the patients. Typically, it's an example of an irregular kind of a stone. It causes involvement of the kidney like this. Very, very slow growing. Now, slow growth of the stone, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Practically, it's a bad thing. So it is going to be resembling the, obviously, horns of a stag. That's why the name staghorn calculus. But the problem that we have with this kind of a stone is, it's an example of a stone which is going to be having poor prognosis. Why? Because when the stone is going to be growing very slowly, the patient is not aware about the stone. So gradually what it causes is the gradual damage to the kidney. Gradual damage to the kidney. And you can imagine there is going to be maximum damage to the kidney because of this stone. So it keeps on increasing till it causes a damage to the kidney. And for a lot of patients, in fact, we have to do a nephrectomy or removal of the kidney just so that the patient can be salvaged. So this is an example of a bad stone, severe stone that we need to remember over here. So what are the 3 names of the stone? Magnesium ammonium phosphate, staghorn calculus, triple stone. What is the composition? The magnesium ammonium phosphate, what is the importance? This stone is produced only and only in alkaline urine. What's the risk factor for alkaline urine? Proteus infection of the urinary tract. What's the other importance? Magnesium behaves just like calcium on X-ray. So this particular stone is going to be radio-opaque or radiolucent. It is going to be radio-opaque. So when you look at these 4 stones, these stones are going to be radio-opaque. Right? Only radiolucent stone is uric acid. Whereas these 3 stones are going to be produced in the acidic urine. Just read the question carefully. It's a classical all except question that they ask you in the exam. If my patient is going to be having the presence of a struvite stone, the patients are going to be having the presence of a crystals of the stone, which is going to be appearing just like coffin lid. Coffin lid. So we need to make a diagram of the coffin lid over there. That's what we do over here. Coffin lid. And how is that going to be useful for us to remember the facts? Coffin is coffin. And whenever somebody is going to pass peacefully, that is, I hope we all get a peaceful death. This is what is going to be associated with people covering us in a white cloth. White cloths. So white is what is going to be remembered. Struvite. This is an example of what is going to be given the name of envelope-shaped crystals. Envelope-shaped crystals. So whenever I'm going to be talking about envelope-shaped crystals, they are going to be seen because of what kind of a stone? Calcium oxalate. कैल्शियम ऑक्सलेट. अब इसमें किसी को अगर प्रॉब्लम आए तो एग्जाम के लिए याद रखना कैल्शियम ऑक्सलेट को ऐसे बना लेना. आई मीन ये सब काम हमने मेन वीडियोस के टाइम पे किए थे यार. आई थिंक दीज आर द ट्रिक्स व्हिच हैव बीन यूजफुल फॉर सो मेनी इयर्स नाउ. अभी तो यूबिक्विटस हो चुके हैं ट्रिक्स. सबकी ट्रिक्स हैं ये. अभी पहले हम बोलते थे कि हमारी है, अभी हम बोलते हैं सबकी है. ठीक है, कैल्शियम ऑक्सलेट. एंड व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द कॉफिन लिड वन, दिस इज व्हाट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर. Right. So typically the crystals are not going to be given in the exam as such, but what they are definitely ask you are the properties of these stones, because of which they are going to be asked you in the exam questions.